First, on behalf of SMG, we are so honored to have you here, and thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to take this interview. First and foremost, can you give us a brief introduction of ENEX?
ENEX is an association of more than 50 global TV and digital publisher organizations representing more than 70 channels on TV and many more online that comes together to act as a collective news group. We share content with each other, we share cooperation, we share live signals, and we also share knowledge. Every year we come together in an assembly as the one you're hosting this year in Shanghai to exchange views about the industry, what's going on in the world. We share our challenges, we share some insights about how the industry is developing. And as an organization, we try and keep that grouping together as much as possible because some of the challenges we face in the media industry are very difficult and are very hard. And by bringing together these different organizations from all over the world, we're able to solve some of them and cooperate and help build a future for all of our organizations.
Since 2018, SMG has been a partner of ENEX. As the only official partner in China, we've sent over 2,000 stories happening in China, especially in Shanghai. So what kind of role do you think these stories play in the global communication?
Some of our partners within the ENEX organization are very big news organizations like CBS in America or Sky News in the UK. They have permanent correspondents based in Beijing, and so they're able to report on China themselves with their own correspondents. But many more of our companies don't have a bureau or an office or a correspondent or a reporter or a producer in China. So really, they rely on us to be able to tell the news of what's happening in China, not just the politics and the global summits, but really about the culture, about the developments in the economy, about life here. Of course, the pandemic was a big story for all of us.
Yes.
Many things that you've sent us features on and articles on and television news reports are really gobbled up by our audience because otherwise they wouldn't have no reporting from China. So it's really a crucial role that you play for us to be able to open a window onto China, the developments here, and through you we're able to pass on that news, and that's been a tremendous value to our membership. We track all of our stories, who's using them, who's looking at them, where they're turning up, and we know that whenever SMG gives us a story, one of your stories, we know that it's always well received and it has a lot of interest in the outside world.
Yes, some of the stories are very popular, especially during the pandemic time. There's a lot of misinformation, or I say disinformation, around the world. There are a lot of rumors, but we give them a real perspective of what's happening in China and in Shanghai.
I think that's a problem for all of our societies actually, is because a lot of people now are getting very partial snippets of news, of course through social media feeds.
Yeah.
And that gives you part of what's going on, but it doesn't give you the context. It doesn't give you the explanation. It doesn't give you the overview. And so I think there is a role to play for established news organizations like SMG to sort of really do a proper job of reporting what's actually going on. And I think people can get confused and misinformed by people who are not trained journalists, not professional journalists, giving them information that isn't quite right. So I think with a story like the pandemic, and I'm sure there'll be other stories like that, it's crucial that established media organizations like SMG continue to play their role in the information space.
Yeah, thank you. We are so honored that ENEX has decided to host this year's General Assembly in Shanghai. Actually, this is the first time the assembly was held in China. Previously, most of them were held in Europe. So what difference does it make?
For us, it's a crucial part of our development. We started off as a European-based organization with a partner in America. Then we started to grow into Latin America, into the Middle East, into bits of Africa, and really Asia. Everyone knows that Asia is a huge powerhouse in terms of demography, in terms of economy, in terms of culture. And so it was crucial for us to be able to secure SMG as a partner within ENEX, and of course have China represented within the group. China is such a vitally important country, not just in news media, but generally. So it was really crucial for us that we built this partnership together since 2018, as you say. And really this General Assembly is the culmination of 6 years of partnership to really cement those ties. And one of the most wonderful things about this assembly we're about to have is that many people are coming to China for the first time.
Yes, exactly.
So we're able to talk to them about things that, of course, we know, I know, because I've visited several times, and of course you're from Shanghai, of course you know. But many people who are coming will not ever have been to China, maybe felt scared a little bit to go to a faraway place and to know what it was like or how to approach it. So we're giving them the umbrella of security of this General Assembly to come to China for the first time, to see SMG's operations, to learn and exchange views about the news industry. And so that, I think, is the most wonderful thing about the Assembly, is that it's actually giving people a chance themselves to have a look and see what a magnificent city Shanghai is and open a window on China. And the wonderful thing about that is that they're all familiar, they've read stories about what's happening in China, but actually they'll see for the first time themselves. So I know that some of our colleagues have already arrived. Yes, some of them have flown for more than 30 hours on a plane to get here, as you have to if you're coming from Latin America. And I know one of them is having a walking tour of the city today. Other colleagues will see tonight. And Shanghai is a brilliant window, if you like, as an introduction to China, because it's such an internationally facing city, such an international vibe to the place. So I think it's a great introduction for China for them. And certainly for us, we're delighted to be here.
Yeah, like they say, seeing is believing. So when they come, they can see what's really happening in China, in Shanghai, right?
Also, I think China is one of those countries where there's a little bit of mystery for people who don't know it so well. And they may have some preconceptions or even misconceptions about what China is going to be like and how foreign it will be. I know we are foreigners here, but for them, you know, China will be foreign. And I'm really delighted to give them the opportunity to demystify the country and to see the innovations that are happening in the economy. We're doing a special session on electric vehicles, just the extraordinary industry that's built up around electric vehicles in China, the work that's going on in the environment. We're just lifting the lid a little bit on the real China, getting away from what may be in the newspaper headlines or what they may have seen on social media. And I think that's going to be the most valuable legacy of the whole trip.
Over the past few years, we've seen so many divisions and uncertainties around the world, like the Israel-Gaza conflict and the US election. So during difficult time, I think media are especially important because they serve as bridges. So what's your view on the importance of global media cooperation?
I think the world for the last maybe 30, 40 years has got used to this process of globalization, of countries coming together closer with trade. And now, in more recent years, actually that movement is almost going in the opposite direction. There are barriers coming up. There are difficulties in exchanging everything, in politics, in economy, in travel. And I think it's very important in the media sphere that we do cooperate, because actually commercial media like SMG all over the world is also in a challenging space. Advertising that used to be on all of our channels in a large way has moved online. Viewers have tended to spend more time on their mobile phones than they do in front of the television. And we're all having to adapt to the new realities of what media looks like in 2024 and beyond. So we face the same challenges even though we come from different countries and cultures. And I think one of the key ways that we can actually sustain our industry is to cooperate with each other. There are large parts that are of your interest and my interests and the interests of news organizations who are coming to our Congress that overlap. And if we can get this cooperation part right, with trading content, material, knowledge, then I think we're better equipped to face what is a difficult future, because it's an industry that's subject to a lot of change and a lot of pressure. But I'm optimistic that I think cooperation is one of the key pathways to make the future more possible and more sustainable for media, and no doubt for other areas of society as well.
Yeah, especially with the rise of the AI.
AI is a huge challenge and a huge opportunity. Like all changes in technology, we'll be spending a lot of time talking about artificial intelligence. How do we integrate it within our organizations? I think the most interesting part of AI is about generative AI. Generating text, which formerly would have always been done by human beings. And how do we, in a proper way, integrate that into our newsrooms so that we don't get rid of all the human beings? That would definitely be a mistake. But how can we use it to assist us
not to destroy us.
Not to destroy us, but to assist us. And there are threats and challenges around that as well. And every news organization is facing that difficult question about how to incorporate it, what to tell the viewer about where it's being used in the organization, how can it assist. Maybe there's someone who was formerly employed logging videotapes that will be replaced by AI. Does that person then change to a different role? These are all big structural changes that are about to affect our industry. I think on the whole, if we're working within media, we have to be optimistic about how do we use this new tool, these new set of tools, to help sustain our businesses in the future. But yeah, definitely, like everything, changes in technology really pulling the industry towards a different future, and it's almost a revolution in our codes of practice and how we go about our journalism. But I think at the end of it, I think we've got to grasp the opportunities rather than worry about the problems.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Good, thank you.